SQL in condition or operator. Description. The SQL in condition, sometimes called the in operator, allows you to easily test if an expression matches any value in a list of values. It is used to help reduce the need for multiple or conditions in a select, insert, update or delete statement. So instead of or operator, we use in operator. SQL in operator syntax. If we use a opt or operator, in that case, select column names from source where column name is equal to value 1 or column name is equal to value 2 or column name is equal to value. This will be the condition, or this will be the syntax when we use or operator. So because of or operator, the query becomes very long. So if we use in operator, the query becomes very short. The syntax of in operator is select column names from source where column name in value 1, value 2, value n. So here we can see the query with or operator is very long, and here in syntax also we can see the query becomes very short, and in actual the query with or operator becomes very large, and the query with in operator becomes very short, and it is becomes very easy. Now, in operator, this in this way in operator is used in SQL. uh, so now we will see the practical example of in operator in SQL. Use of in operator in the example. So for that we use here in operator database. Uh, those who are watching this video, they can also watch and videos related to an operator and or operator. The videos, the concept is not so difficult, but videos are interesting. So the people can watch a video related to an operator and or operator. So here we create a table patient. Here we have taken patient ID, patient first name, last name, disease ID, expenses, and hospital ID. Here we take the records. First we create table properly. Then we insert the records and we check the records. So these are the records. These are the patients. First we will see in operator numerical example 1. Following query will find all patients having expenses either 90,000 or 10,000. If we want to see expenses without an operator, we can use where equal to condition or and where operator. With where we use equal to condition means we can say that select like this, select star patient where expenses equal to 90,000 or expenses equal to 10,000. We can use the query with equal to and or and expenses. We use or expenses is equal to 90,000 or expenses is equal to 10,000, and if there we can use like this. But here on we are finding the expenses for two uh, two amounts, but if we want many expenses to search for searching, we see if we see here there are two expenses, but in case of many expenses at that time query will be very long. So to avoid that, we there is concept like in. So instead of this, we use the same query here. We use the same query here, and here expenses in 90,000 or 10,000, 10,000. Here select start from patient, expenses in 90,000 or 10,000. Now we get two records. If we check these records here, 90,000 and 10,000. So here we see that 90,000 is for Amitabh Bachchan, and for Ajay Devgan 10,000. So for Ajay Devgan 10,000 and for Amitabh Bachchan 90,000. So we get Ajay Devgan 10,000 and Amitabh Bachchan 90,000. So these two records we get here. With this query also two records. With this query also two records. Now we will find in operator numerical example 2. We will find query will find all patients having expenses either 90,000, 10,000 or 40,000 50 paise. If we want to see this, we simply copy this query here, paste here, and if we copy this, here we get the result. Ajay Devgan, Amitabh, they are already there, and now another we have taken three fields or three expenses here. So Ganguram say blood pressure, so his expenses is 40,050. So if we check that, here we can see Ajay Devgan having 10,000, Ajay Devgan 10,000, Amitabh Bachchan 90,000, and Ganguram say 40,000, 40,050. So these three expenses we find with this query: 90,000, 10,000, and 40,000 50 paise. Like that, if we want to see records for hospital ID 3, hospital ID 3, 4, 5. The patients in hospital ID 3, 4, 5. Then we, yeah, copy the query, and here we can see that hospital ID, where hospital ID is equal to hospital ID in 345, 345. We can get the result. Hospital ID 345, Sanjay Dutt, Amitabh Bachchan, Kanika Kapoor, and S. Balasubramanian. So if we check here, we can see 345. Here 3 Sanjay Dutt, then 4 Amitabh Bachchan, 5 Kanika Kapoor, and S. Balasubramanian. So these records get successfully. If we want to see only one patient name, patient first name, patient if name, sorry, we want to see the selected fields. In that case, we can give here patient first name, patient if name. So Amitabh Bachchan, and we also see the hospital ID. Hospital ID. We want to see. So Sanjay 3, hospital ID 3, Sanjay hospital ID 3, Amitabh hospital ID 4, Kanika hospital ID 5, and patient hey, S hospital ID 5. Now we will see in operator in string example 1. You can use any data type column inside the in operator. The following in operator query find the patient present in the patient table whose disease is either fever or blood pressure. So if we see here, so if we see here, we can get the records. We want the record or we want the patient whose disease is either fever or blood pressure. So fever, this Salman Khan, Arbaz Khan, Ajay Devgan has fever, and blood pressure, Gangu Ramsey has blood pressure. So we want these patients from the table because they have disease like fever and uh, blood pressure. So generally, if there is no in operator, we can say that select star from patient where patient disease is equal to fever or patient disease is equal to blood pressure. If we want the patient whose disease is fever and whose disease is blood pressure, in that case we use this query. But there are only two diseases. But if we want 2, 3, 4, 5, any number of more number, then this will be a long query. So for that we use in operator. Now we can use select star from patient. Sorry, we copy this query. We can see here star from where instead of where we can where patient disease is equal to where patient disease is equal to instead of in here is equal to instead of is equal to in fever, and this is not required, only the blood pressure. So if we execute this query, we can get the result Salman Khan fever, Arbaz Khan fever, and Gangu Ramsey blood pressure, and uh, these we can get if we use star operator. We can get all the details, but if we want only few details, so we say that we select patient ID, patient name, then patient disease from patient. Where patient disease is fever or blood pressure. We can give query in this way also if we want selected fields only. And we get patient ID, then patient name, then first name, last name, Salman Khan fever, Arbaz Khan fever, Ajay Devgan fever, Gangu Ramsey blood pressure. So we get fever, the patients having fever and blood pressure. Like this, in we will see in operator string example 2. In example below, in operator returns the patients whose disease is either COVID, cancer or heart disease. We have to find the patients having disease COVID, cancer or heart disease. So for that, we copy the query. Then here we want COVID, then cancer, then heart disease. Now we get this kind of result. Select star from patient. We check the result. If we check here, we want the patients having COVID, cancer and heart disease. COVID, cancer and heart disease. Here cancer, COVID and heart disease. We can see Rishi Kapoor have cancer, Sanjay Dutt have cancer. We get Rishi Kapoor cancer, Sanjay Dutt cancer, 2 records of cancer. Amitabh Bachchan COVID, Kanika Kapoor COVID, S. Balasubramaniam COVID, 3 records of COVID. Amitabh Bachchan COVID, Kanika Kapoor COVID, S. Balasubramaniam COVID. Then if we see here, Shyam Ramsey is the only person suffering from heart disease. Shyam Ramsey heart disease. All the records from the table get proper. Now if we want only few fields from this, if we want patient ID, patient F name, patient L name and patient disease, patient ID, patient F name, patient L name, patient disease. From patient where patient disease is in COVID, cancer, heart disease. We can see here 2 records of cancer. Rishi Kapoor cancer, Sanjay Dutt cancer, Amitabh Bachchan COVID, Kanika Kapoor COVID, S. Balasubramaniam COVID, and Shyam Ramsey heart disease. In this way, string, in case of string, in operator gives the result. In operator with multiple condition. In operator with multiple condition. Select star from where patient disease in fever, cancer or expenses is equal to 6,000, sorry, 60,000. Here we say that we first given the condition, we want the patients having disease, fever and cancer, and also the patient having expenses 60,000. If we execute this query, we get the result. Here we get the result. So if we get the cancer, the fever and cancer, if we see here, the patient Rishi Kapoor having cancer, first we see the patient having fever and cancer, a patient having fever and cancer. And then Rishi Kapoor have cancer, Rishi Kapoor have cancer. Then this is the patient having cancer. Then fever, Salman Khan have fever, Arbaz Khan have fever, Ajay Devgan has fever. Then Sanjay Dutt have cancer. And these are the and these are all the patients having cancer and fever. But here we have given the condition expenses is 60,000. Another expenses Salman Khan have expenses 60,000, but it is included in fever. So here we get S. Balasubramaniam, an additional record S. Balasubramaniam having COVID 60,000, though it is not in the disease. We have mentioned the, though it is though the patient Balasubramaniam is not in fever, having disease, fever or cancer. It is here because of we have given the expenses also 60,000. So in this way we can get in operator with multiple condition. In this way we get the result. Then we can also operator with order by in operator with order by clause. Like this we copy the same query. Here we see that the expenses are not in proper. So if we want the expenses in proper order, so here we can give the order by clause, order by expenses descending or ascending. We give here descending. Here Rishi Kapoor answer had cancer 70,000, then Sanjay Dutt 70,000, Arbaz 165,000, then Salman Khan 60, Asbal Subramanian 60, Ajay Devgan 10,000. Like this, we get the result according to order by clause. Here multiple conditions and with that order by clause also. If we give here only, we can give selected fields also with patient name, only with patient first name, if name. If we give this kind of conditions, patient name and here expenses like this, we get the selected field, multiple conditions and order by clause. So that's all for today for in operator in SQL. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching in operator in SQL. Have a nice day.